Good afternoon, Mr. Stano. Thanks for giving us the time. Today, a historic event is taking place at the European Parliament. Prince Reza Pahlavi is visiting the European Parliament on an official level. I know it's totally different institute. These are parallel institutes. We are totally aware of that. But to what degree you think such a meeting is going to affect the current relation between Iran and EU, and also what ramification on GCPOA? سپاسگزارم آقای پیتر استانو از وقتی که در اختیار ایندیپندنت فارسی قرار دادید. امروز شاهزاده رضا پهلوی در یک ملاقات رسمی به پارلمان اروپا آمدند. تا چه اندازه شما فکر می‌کنید این گونه ملاقات ها تأثیرگذار بر روابط جمهوری اسلامی و اتحادیه اروپا و خصوصاً چه تأثیرات بالقوه‌ای بر برجام خواهد داشت؟
These are non-related issues. When we are talking about JCPOA, this is a process that goes between the participants of the JCPOA, where the EU is actually not a party of the agreement. The EU, in the form of the High Representative Borrell, is the coordinator of the agreement, and the parties of the agreement do not include European Union. There are 3 European countries, but as countries, not as the European Union, and they are discussing the revival of the nuclear deal. This has nothing to do with the visits of people from Iran or Iranian nationals in the European Parliament or in any other European institution. When it comes to bilateral relations between the European Union and Iran, this is conducted officially at the level of the governments, of course, like every international affair. So for us, we are dealing with the government in Tehran. The interlocutors for us are sitting in Tehran. They are members of the government and the administration, and we are talking to them as the European Union through the High Representative or through the member states and their representatives, foreign ministers or prime ministers. This is a dialogue which is ongoing, and if there are any visits by whomever in the European Parliament or in any other European institution, this is just part of the interactions the European Union and its institutions are having with a number of stakeholders. Because for us, as I said, the official relations are conducted at the level of the governments, but for us, the stakeholders and the partners for dialogue are also others. The political parties, opposition, civil society, the activists, trade unions, different religious organizations, women's associations. So anyone who has certain credibility and relevance for the EU is someone who is received in the EU by the institutions, because we are talking to a number of interlocutors. But officially, the relations and the official business is conducted between the official representatives, that means the government, and the representatives of the Commission or of the member states.
برگزار کنندگان این نشست عنوان این نشست رو تأثیرگذاری بر روابط اتحادیه اروپا با جمهوری اسلامی، حمایت از خیزش مردم ایران و همچنین فشار حداکثری برای در لیست تروریستی قرار دادن سپاه پاسداران اعلام کردند. The organization announced the aim of this meeting is going to be putting more pressure on EU to enlist the IRGC as a terrorist organization and actually gathering more support for Iranian uprising. شما فکر میکنید آیا این دستاورد عملی هست و تاثیرگذار در ابعاد دیپلماتیک خواهد داشت؟ Do you think such an aim is going to have any effect at the diplomatic level and is going to increase the pressure for enlisting IRGC?
Listing of any entity on the list of the EU of terrorist organizations is partially political, but first of all judicial process. In order for the European Union to discuss this issue at the EU level, we first need to have a decision by a national authority in a member state. So in this sense, unless the judiciary in a specific member state becomes active, the European Union as such, the 27, cannot discuss such decision. But let me say one thing. When it comes to Revolutionary Guards, they are already sanctioned by the European Union under 4 different sanctions regimes: for the human rights violations, for the participation in the oppression against the Iranian population, under the regime of weapons of mass destructions, under the regime, under the Syria sanctions regime for their support for Assad regime and the oppression of the Syrian population, and under the regime linked to the Russian aggression against Ukraine. So they are the guards as such, or their members or entities affiliated with it or individuals affiliated with it are already on various sanctions regimes of the EU. But in order to put this entity on the EU terror list, first we need a decision by a judiciary in a member state, and that decision is a decision in the hands of the independent judiciary, and it's not a subject to any kind of lobbying or diplomatic efforts by anyone.
به عنوان سوال آخر، آقای امیر عبداللهیان اعتراضات شدید خودشون نسبت به این دیدار اعلام کردند و از القابی نظیر فاشیست یا دولت هیتلر یا فرزند هیتلر استفاده کردند در این مصاحبه‌ای که انجام دادن. چه تماس‌هایی با کمیسیون اروپا و اکسترنال اکشن گرفته شده در این زمینه و چه اعتراضاتی اگر شده میتونید ما رو در جریان بذارید؟ Well, we heard Mr. Amir Abdullahian was addressing the visit and with a very strong word using fascist and naming things like Hitler or son of Hitler or something like this. Did you receive any official complaint from Iranian foreign ministry or did they emphasize any anger about today's meeting?
I'm not aware about any communication between the EU institutions and the Iranian side regarding one specific visit which is taking in an institution for which I'm not speaking. The European Parliament is totally independent institution from the European Commission, from the European Council, and from the European External Action Service. So it's very difficult to answer this question because, to my knowledge, I have no information about any kind of outreach by the Iranian Foreign Ministry, and I see also no reason why they should reach out to us if there is a visit they might not like in the European Parliament. I think even in Iran, they understand the division between the institutions and the independence each institution has and the freedom each EU institution has to meet people they find okay to meet with.
سپاسگزارم از وقتی که در اختیار ایندیپندنت فارسی قرار دادید. Thank you very much, Mr. Stano, for your time.